A big hello to all viewers. My guest on the sports show today is Mikaela Zahn. She was born in Sweden to a Swedish mother and a German father, and she left school at the age of 17 to take up traveling. In 2011, Mikaela took up the art of boxing. She's participating in the Haringey Cup this weekend and joins me in the studio to talk about her boxing journey and aspirations. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in. You've got a very interesting story. You started boxing 2011.
Yes.
Why did you take it up?
I guess I've always wanted to learn how to box, and I looked up women's boxing in London because I was a bit too scared to go down to the big boxing gyms. And I found Marianne Marston did women classes only. So I went to her classes in Houston, Ringtone Gym, and I just love the atmosphere there. It's a great gym with a great atmosphere, good trainers. So yeah, that's how I fell into it, really.
And who is Marianne Marston for the benefit of our listeners?
She's a professional boxer, professional woman boxer. I'm not sure about her record, but yeah, she boxed out of Malta, I think, Malta Commission. Yeah.
And you travel quite a lot, don't you? Frequently. You've been to quite a few countries?
I do, yes. I've travelled a lot with work, and now that I've moved back to Sweden, I travel a lot back here to visit friends and to go train here.
And this particular visit to London, should we say, you've been training very, very hard. You're now participating in this weekend's Haringey Box Cup. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yes, it's very exciting. It's the largest amateur tournament here in Europe, I think. And yeah, I lived in London for 6 years and I never went to see it, to be honest. But I always heard about it, and that was really good. And I'm very excited to be a participant this year.
And this is taking place at Alexandra Palace?
At Alexandra Palace this weekend, yes.
And it's a ticketed event?
I think so, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So our viewers may wish to go along and cheer you and the other fighters on. And it's an amateur event, isn't it? It's quite a traditional amateur event. And how's your training been for?
It's been really good. Yeah, I've trained really hard for this. I haven't been up in the ring since February. So it's been a couple of months out, but I've been training hard the whole time.
Okay, and as we can see from the branding on your shirt, how long have you been with Heist Boxing?
I've been with them since full-time really since May last year. That was my first fight, my first amateur bout. I came home to visit for Christmas, and I walked into the gym to just train, and I started talking to Nelson, who is the head trainer there, and his wife Nora. And they really just inspired me, and they were so welcoming, and yeah, it was great. So that's how I got into it.
And have your team, are they joining you in London?
They are, yes. Nora's coming over, and another teammate of mine is boxing as well, Jeremy.
Okay, so they will be joining you soon as well.
They will, yeah, tonight.
Tonight, actually.
Yes.
Okay, so that should be really good. And they'll be fighting. Should we say at the Haringey Cup as well?
Yes, Jeremy will be. Yeah.
Great. Going to your training schedule, we have all types of people here on the sports show. You know, we've got youngsters, we've got senior citizens, we've got men, women. We've got people who have got an interest in boxing and people who have got no interest at all.
Yeah.
But find people, you know, the story that you've taken and the journey that you've taken quite interesting as well. Now, who's your favourite boxer of all time and why?
Yeah, I must say, I mean, apart from the old legends, Joe Fraser, Muhammad Ali and all those, obviously, current boxers, I would say Golovkin or Canelo.
Any particular reason why you've chosen those two?
I just like their style. I like the way they box. I like their personalities, yeah.
Even with so much glitz and glamour in modern day boxing and sport, you know, people, companies, conglomerates, they pump in millions of pounds just to make the sport look showbiz, even though it's a very simple sport. Do you think the sport can ever boast a personality akin to Muhammad Ali?
I think it's hard. I don't think anybody could measure themselves with Muhammad Ali, I would say. I think he is a legend, isn't he? So yeah, I think that's going to be hard. I think there has been, I mean, Floyd Mayweather has made a pretty good name of himself and so on. So I'm not comparing him to Ali, but in terms of being a personality and making his voice heard.
Does it help being a personality or being a showwoman or a showman and a boxer at the same time? Or are you setting yourself up for failure?
No, I think it definitely helps. I think you have to be a little bit of a show person to even get into that ring, even to be able to stand, because the ring is a really lonely place. You're in there with only one other person, and that person wants to beat you up. So you have to have a bit of charisma and a bit of character, I think. Yeah.
Sure. So it helps you saying
It
sometimes
helps,
to be
I think, yeah.
a little bit cocky. I remember watching that YouTube video. Something can't. One of my viewers will remind me. The entrance that he took. It's on YouTube. From his changing room, and he had the music blaring out, and then there's a 3-minute entrance into the ring, and as soon as he came in, it was like 30 seconds and he was knocked out.
Yeah.
So that is an absolute nightmare, where you can be cocky and overconfident and then end up falling flat on your face. But
Yes.
I agree with you. Having a little bit of confidence can't harm you.
No.
Boxing is a sport which probably helps you being a bit, and like I said, a lot of the personalities in boxing, they're not like that in real life. It's important to remember that.
No, exactly.
I mentioned it on the sports show quite a lot. I met David Hay in person, and he's just the most fantastic human being.
Yeah.
There's nothing cocky about him outside of that. It's all what they need to do to market it and generate interest. Now, your training, I know you're a dedicated trainer. I follow you on social media. We follow each other on social media as well. And I see the dedication you have in there. I've got viewers, followers of the sports show, who are either taking up the sports, and then I've got people who are already participating in the sport. And like I say, newbies, or even some people who have absolutely no interest. They're just thinking, who's this Mikaela lady in the studio now? Let's see what she's got to say for herself. So what is your typical weekly training timetable?
Well, my typical weekly, I typically have at least one day off, totally off. And on the other days, I train, most of them I train twice a day. I go up for a run in the morning before work or before I have to go to school. And then we have boxing training with my coach. We have 5 days a week. In between the running, I also do CrossFit at the moment to get stronger instead of lifting weights or going to the gym. So up to 6 to 10 sessions a week, I would say.
A week. And what about your diet? Do you eat anything particular? Do your portion sizes vary?
It does a little bit. Obviously, to get into fight weight, I start constricting my diet a bit more. I have smaller portions. I don't eat a lot of bread or a lot of carbs, to be honest. But on a normal week, I would eat basically anything. Just healthy. Try to stay healthy. Not eat out. I don't eat McDonald's or any junk food like that. And try to stay away from deep fried things. And
there is a rumor that on her day off she wrestles with bears and goes for mountain climbs. Is that true?
That is very true, yes. The polar bears that are walking around on the streets in Sweden.
So even on your relaxing day, even though you're not sprinting or should we say jabbing or in the gym as well, but you're probably quite active anyway.
Yeah. I guess a little bit in when I was living in London, I wasn't so active because you take the tube everywhere or the bus, so you have to get with public transport. In Sweden, I have my bike and I cycle everywhere. It's basically 10 minutes to get to everywhere, but I think the day-to-day life is a bit more health conscious.
What's been the biggest obstacle for you in your boxing journey?
I'd say the one thing I struggle with, I am my own worst enemy, I would say. I struggle mostly with the confidence and I work with that a lot. Mind, yeah.
Confidence, big attribute for boxers.
Yeah.
If you haven't got it, it's very likely you're not going to make it at any level. Yeah. How have you conquered that personally?
I just work on myself a lot. I do a lot of mental training by myself and a bit of meditation and all that. But I literally just try to think every day not to put myself down or to think bad thoughts, and yeah, it's a bit of a journey. It takes some practice, to be honest.
Your London training club, has it been good training with Alec Wilkie?
Oh, brilliant. He is such a brilliant trainer. I'm so fortunate to be able to come into that gym and train with him. He's really good. He's so experienced. He's so calm. He's really good. And the boys are so nice to let me train next to them. It's really, really nice.
Talking about the boys, I've got a very important question for you now. Do you ever spar directly with men?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. How useful do you find that?
It is useful up to a certain point. I mean, they have to hold back. That's just the fact. But it's obviously very good to spar with people who are better than you.
Sure.
But at some point, I have to spar with girls as well, just to get used to the way girls and boys fight quite differently. So to get used to that, and also, to go into sparring and always feel like you get beat up is not a good thing either. So you have to vary it a bit. Yeah.
And your life, you sometimes do 2-3 jobs. You've got family, you've got nephews, nieces, parent back home, and obviously you travel quite a lot as well. How do you juggle everything?
Planning.
So do you have a
planning.
diary, or do you have it up there?
I write most things down. Yeah, I'm one of those old-fashioned people who still bring up like a filofax or a notebook, and I write things down because that's how I remember best. But yeah, it takes a lot of planning. It does. I don't watch TV a lot, to be honest. Yeah.
On the subject of TV, do you find watching boxing videos in terms of preparation sometimes beneficial?
Yes,
as well.
I love watching boxing. Yeah, I do, definitely.
Okay. There's a lot of young aspiring boxers. The East End where we're based is a boxing hotbed. We've got a massive tradition for boxing. So just round the corner from here, behind you, is Repton, the reputable, Repton, world famous Repton Boxing Club. People like Tony Burns who've been running the show for years, and then you've got Alec, and what's happening down Langdon Park, and the gym in Poplar. Then you've got people like Waleed Ali, who's got the boxing factory. He's a Repton product himself. And then you've got Abdul Hannan, who's got Brawlers Boxing. Probably the most publicized boxing club. He's very media savvy.
Yeah.
I think out of all the boxing clubs, Brawlers is probably, in terms of publicity, he's got it down to a T. He knows how to publish. And then you've got Mark Collins and Shah Rahman. They do Limas Elite Marina. And then you've got your call with all the events taking. How does it feel? And I notice that every time you come here, you're usually based in the East End. Do you understand the history of the boxing in the area? And does this have any positive effect on you, living here, breathing here, training with some of the personalities involved?
Definitely. I get very inspired to come to Alec Wilkie, for example, and see the boys there and talk to them and watch them train and hear about their training. I mean, they are professionals, so they're on a totally different level than I am, but it's very inspiring to be in that environment. It is. And obviously I come to York Hall as often as I can to go and watch the boxing, and it really feels like the home of boxing.
Yeah.
Really
you
does.
were there last time, if I remember correctly. In terms of, you can't choose a family member for this question, but in terms of the most influential person, or you can choose more than one person if you wish to, who's been the most influential person in your life in terms of your outlook, shaping your character, and influencing your boxing journey?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Actually, I would say it did start with, if we're talking about the boxing journey, it all started with Ben Day down at Ringtone Gym, to be honest. He was the one who encouraged me and who guided me into a way of doing sparring and safely and thinking it was fun. And I think boxing journey-wise, to start with, it was definitely him. And then from on there, it's been obviously different people. I've just,
I'm going to let you in on a little secret between me and Ben Day. We're actually twins. Did you know that?
Oh, did you
Separated
know?
at birth. We are.
Didn't know
We
that.
are.
Yeah.
It's just like a mirror image.
That's
Me and
amazing.
Bende are
Yeah.
twins,
Yeah.
but that is just between you
That's
and me.
interesting.
Okay,
Very well.
but
I'll
you
keep it to
cannot
myself.
mention this because you will be
Keep it to
devastated to know
myself.
that the secret is out. Just remember, Ben, if you're watching, we love you. Right. Going back to boxing again, your future plans and aspirations. You're obviously loving it. You're living life to the max. You're meeting some fantastic people. It's evident that you really love your art. You know, the way you train, the way you talk about it, the way you communicate, the way you engage.
Yeah.
Where would you like to see yourselves in the next 5 years? Now, be as detailed as you like.
Well, the next 5 years are actually the years I've got left to be able to compete as an amateur. So obviously I would like to see myself in the nationals in Sweden. That's my next step for next year. Winning it, obviously, within the 5 years, I would love to. And just to keep on competing and improving mostly within the boxing. And then after that, after I'm not allowed to compete anymore as an amateur, I would want to get into organising boxing events, preferably professional events then.
Because you've obviously got an events management experience as well.
I do, yes. When I worked here in London, I worked as an events manager for 5 or 6 years, so yeah.
As they say, if the glove fits as well.
See?
Mikaela, it's been tremendous having you on the show. It's been a total pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
We wish you the greatest luck with the Haringey Box Cup during the weekend. And you must promise to come back when you're next in London as well. And talk to us about your experiences there as well. And talk to us a little bit about the boxing in Sweden. What we'd like to do is talk about, what you've been doing over there and how boxing is taking off over there. And maybe even if you have a teammate, bring them along with you as well.
I will do,
So we wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
She's Mikaela Zahn and I'm Emdad Rahman. You've been watching us on The Sports Show. I'll see you soon. Take care till then.